I will have the paper straight on the table first. I'm going to wet the paper first. This is Arch, 300 grams, fine, I think. I will write that down in the description for you too. I don't usually paint on fine paper, I used to use rough. So let's see how I handle this. It's a long time since I used it. Hope it hasn't gone old on me. Let the paper suck in the moisture a little bit more. And as I told you before in earlier videos, the corners and the edges of the paper always dry faster. Okay. We'll take out the water from around here. Later in this video I will also tell you how I cut the paper. This is from a block. I can show you the block. Arches or arch, grain, fine, 300 grams. So this, you see the size? I have cut it in 5 pieces. Just had to throw away 2 smaller pieces. One I can use for testing the pigments. Okay. So I let this lie flat for a while I am mixing my pigments. Okay. This is not such a big paper, so I don't take a bigger brush than that. I take some Cobalt blue. That is my go-to pigment for skies most of the time. Cobalt blue is a neutral blue. It's not cool, it's not, well, it's cool because it's blue, but it's not a cool blue like turquoise pigment, for instance. So this is more in the middle, and ultramarine is to the warmer side of blue. Okay, I think I will take a little bit neutral tint. No, I will not take neutral tint. I will take burnt sienna, just a little bit, just to take off the, I don't want it too bright blue. I want it a little bit softer. Okay. Let's see how the water is. Okay. In the beginning, when you paint, it's good to mix the colors beforehand, and after that wet the paper and just wait for a while. Okay, the ground, I want some, well, I want green, obviously. Okay, or some grass. I take the Perylene green there, I'm going to take some light green beside the darker green. This is sap green. Some more. Take some more Perylene green. Okay. Let's see. The paper is still moist, but it's starting to dry on the sides. So I put some more there. Just have to wait a little bit. Do I need any more colors? I can mix a little bit of burnt sienna. That's nice, some warm pigments in the painting. It's always good. Some spots. Maybe some red. Can take some red here on the side. Let's see if I want it. Just some. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Almost. Just a little bit more. In the meantime, I can tell you about the amount of water. The amount of water in the pigment mixes is important. It's not how light the color is or how dark the color is. If you have a lot of water in the pigment, it is going to be lighter, but it floats in the paper and around on the paper much easier. If you have a wet surface or a moist surface from an earlier if the paper or the pigment that you have painted just earlier, if it is still wet, you must mix pigment with less water than it was mixed with the other mixture. So the first mixture, if it's dry, or the first mixture, if it is still wet, the first mixture, if it is still wet, the pigment or the water on the paper, you must mix with more pigment, so the pigment mixture is thicker. Then you can control the flow of the paint. If you put the same amount of water in the second layer of pigment on the paper, when the first layer of the pigment is still wet, then you don't have any control of it, and it can start making blooms, get marks all over the paper, you know. Okay, let's see how it looks. I think it looks okay. Okay, now I'm going to tilt the board, and I paint from up and downwards. Okay, make sure the brush is clean. Okay, I don't think I'm going to make any clouds on this one because I want to make it easier for you. The thing that you are going to concentrate on now is more the trees. Okay, see here, I can go over it again as it is still wet. Okay, and I take the green, leave it white, it will flow together. Okay, okay, I take some. Okay, there. Now I take the dark green. You see here, here is the bead that we were talking about in the mountain video that I showed you earlier. I suck up that bead with a washed and blotted brush. It is the sucking brush I use. Okay. I will take some of this burnt sienna. Now it has floated together a bit. Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Sucking brush again. What happens otherwise if you don't suck up this bead is when this paint up here starts to dry and it is still wet down here, the dry paper wants to suck up the wetness of the bead, and then you get lines, you know, blooms all over. So you gotta suck up the bead to control the pigment. Some of the red, just to get some variety of colors. I take the dark green again. Here you can play. It's nothing, you don't need to do any special details or anything, just play around. I think I will paper. Okay, this is still wet. I'm going to mix a darker blue to put here on top with a thicker mixture. I will take another pigment. I want to fix that. Take my small travel palette. I use it at home because it's so handy. It's very tiny and I love it. I take some indigo. I'll take some indigo. Okay. This is a very dark blue. I am going to put some burnt sienna in it because I want it to be softer. But this is too brown, so I want more blue. More blue. Remember, if you don't want that much of water in, you have to take out the water from the brush. Let's see how it looks. Oh, it's soft and it's dark, just what I want it to be. Okay, this is much thicker than this, so I will check. Yes, it's still wet. I take this. See how it floats softly. Softly, softly. It will take somewhere. I have to take some more because I want it to run further. Take it up here. This pigment pushes the pigment underneath. A bit more. A little bit more. If you don't know if the pigments are enough of pigment, mix extra. So it's better you have some left. See, it's more black, so I want some more of the Payne's gray. That's okay. It's okay. A little bit more black. Talking about black, One of the tips I want to give you is not to use the black pigments. Mix your own black from the pigments that you use in the rest of the painting. Okay, a little bit more. Okay. Now I will let the pigment flow. Okay. I want some more here. Maybe I can paint a stone. I can use a bit more of this burnt sienna, just to make a little shape. I will show you some here too. You see, after a while you'll see that this pigment, I will take some more burnt sienna right from the palette, because this pigment that I took from here was a bit too wet. So it was beginning to go upwards to the other wet paint. The other pigment was the underlying layer was about the same amount of water. Okay, you can make some shapes here. Okay, I want to make something here. Okay, I can use some of the Payne's gray straight from the palette, just for some shadow. Just a little bit of, so you get some shape, whatever you like it to be. I say Payne's gray, it was Indigo that put it here, straight from here. It's, see, it looks black, but it's indigo without a lot of water. I took it straight from the palette. Okay, I put this down. I want to show you what happens. I take some water. Okay, if you want to have an even layer of blue in the sky, you don't do this, but I want to show you what happens. Okay, I take water, or I could take paint that was far too much water in. Okay, now I have water in this. I'm going to do it like this. Okay, I touch the blue and let's see what happens. I will go and get some salt. I can show you that too. Oops. When you have a dark color like this, you have painted it one layer without drying between. Okay, I have some ordinary table salt. I just put some grains. Let's see what happens. Just check a little bit first. Take some more. This is something that has to be self-dried, not with any hair dryer. Okay, let's see what happens. Now the paper is lying flat. Okay, let's see what happens. If you have very much of pigment in it, it can stuck. The salt doesn't suck up the water in the pigment, so you can't have too much pigment inside. So let's see if I succeed here. That is something you can practice on a small piece of paper. Just some paint and salt. Or you just try to make a small painting like this, just a small one. Okay, something is happening. You see? I think that the Indigo is very kind to me today, because you see there's a little going up from the water, but not much. But there still can be some changes because the water is still wet. Arch paper is staying wet quite a long time. On my other videos, the earlier videos, I used Sonder Waterford, and that is a much softer paper. And as it is soft, the water leaves the paper quicker. You see here? I have made a few paintings using salt, and then I put some branches. It makes it into a tree. So you can make it just a fantasy, be creative. You see here the dark indigo pigment. I took it straight from the palette. It hasn't moved so much. So first, a lot of water, first layer, less water, second layer, third layer, even more pigment, and even less water if you paint on wet surface. If the underlying layer hasn't dried, you have to mix with more pigment and less water in the paint that you paint on top. Here you can see some movement as also as that this is from the brush that I put on with only water. You see? Okay. I think this is enough now. The salt, I want to dry it, because next step I want to, I don't want it to float out more. And I want to dry it and then maybe wet it again. I haven't decided as yet, but we start to dry anyway.